their report.
All right, we'll call this Parks and Rec Committee meeting to order. We've got one thing on the agenda, and I'll turn it over to Philip with, he's going to explain the lease a little bit of what we currently have.
If you look at the documents in here, there was a lease signed in, I believe it's 2007, between the town of Blackstone and the school system. I don't know if you guys have ever looked at this thing, but this is the lease that allows the town to use much of that property that the school owns over there off of Burke Street, Oak Street. I don't know what we call it, the school complex, or the school buildings. I don't know what the motivation initially was, but maybe it was because the town wanted the grass cut a little better, or get the leaves up a little better, make it look a little bit better. That may have been the initial issue, but no? What's the initial issue?
They had a plan. They had a plan to do walking tracks and all kinds of stuff to develop it.
The only plans that had ever been prepared by Larry was a walking track that was gonna go around. It was a mulch track. We've replaced that with a series of VDOT grants that will encompass the ball fields. Larry did have an original plan of the ball fields, which is the same one we used when we built that. So I think
I remember
everything
vaguely it
that
was like a
initial-
wood chip path that was, and then the big issue I think was maintenance as to how in the world will it stay nice, the walk path or whatever they had talking.
The walk path that was initially talked about, I think, was either gravel or mulch or something. It
Yeah.
was something altogether different. So you know, Monica, we received several $100,000 in grant money from the state to do a walking path around the entire baseball complex and this property as well. So you know, if you look at the baseball field, we obliterated a part of what was Lester Street. You remember Lester Street went all the way through? The ball field now, the concession stand just about right on the old roadbed of Lester Street. And so we took that street out. The schools retained ownership of that part of the property that's to the west of the old Lester Street line. The town owns between Powell and the old Lester Street right away, which is about where the concession stand is, roughly. Okay. We did ask the schools, and they approved us to go ahead and put our improvements, and I think this lease requires that we get their approval for improvements. They approved us building the ball fields, even though it actually technically belongs to them. Okay, a portion of the property, or not quite half, but a significant amount of the property belongs to them. We asked them about moving the playground, and they were agreeable to that. As Monica said, the schools has consistently said, we need to see a plan, we need to see a plan. So we've effectuated the original, and the basketball courts, we went up there and asked the schools if we could do the basketball court. The original plan that I saw, that I've been presented, and that we used, was the baseball complex, pretty much like it is, a little different configuration, but approximately like that, and then this walking trail. Well, I think we've addressed both. We got the ball fields done, and now the walking trail, we expect will have antique lights around it, the entire facility and that sort of thing, and the state has given us about $500,000 to do that. The town has about $30,000 of obligation. I'm using round numbers, but our obligation is a lot of Dan's time moving power lines and installing the antique lights and things like that. That is the lease. There is one section in here that comes up on a regular basis, and it is a section that discusses the town maintaining the buildings. All right. Number 5. This is the one that comes up real often. During the term of the lease, the responsibility for all routine repair and maintenance to the old intermediate school property shall rest with the town. So we've called the schools and said, you know, the roof has collapsed in this building. What are y'all gonna do about it? And they said, oh no, y'all gotta fix it.
It's not routine.
It's not routine, exactly. So there's been a point of contention, and we've been in several meetings, and Sherman has held very firmly, no, you don't wanna put a new roof on it, then the town needs to do that. But I don't think that's a good investment of money for the town to put lipstick on that pig, because that building is, it's becoming unsalvageable.
That's what they said when I went up there.
Do what?
That's what they said when I
Did they
went
say
up
that
there.
again to you?
Yes.
They say the town's supposed to do it,
Yep.
but a new roof for $50,000, $40,000,
It's
$20,000,
fine if
whatever
we
the
could
roof
use the
is?
building as a community center.
Huh?
That's fine if we could use the building as a community center, but you can't, I mean,
They won't even let it go.
That building's got so much work left to it, you wouldn't be able to put,
no.
it wouldn't be an asset.
So that is the point of contention about the buildings that I've had with the schools. Every time I've talked to them, or the Board of Supervisors, or Ronnie Rourke, they've fallen back and said, nope, anything that needs to be done to those buildings, y'all gotta do. Now, we boarded up the windows. Little else, we cut down bushes around it because people were vandalizing getting in. We closed off some vents, boarded up some vents and things where people were accessing in there. So that has consistently been an issue, and I don't think the schools or the county are correct in saying that routine maintenance means tens of thousands of dollars of fixing neglect where they hadn't done anything. Okay? Now you have the lease. That's the lease that is discussed on a regular basis, okay? The next page is Nottaway County Schools, and you can see that they responded back to us, that they were gonna put together a comprehensive plan sustaining the use of the buildings. Really the last correspondence that I can remember that we got,
2016.
2016 from the school, about a year ago. 2 years ago, excuse me. And in front of that, June 9, 2016, there was a letter that was sent to the county school system, not the board of supervisors, but to the school, discussing surplus real property and a request based on what they had asked us to do, which was provide a master plan. If you remember, we hired HDH Architects, which are the folks down here at the bottom, to put together what in 2016 was the newest plan. This doesn't even show the second basketball.
Didn't we pay $10,000-$15,000 for that?
$5,000.
That's fair, man.
But he gave us multiple different options.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see you've got the 2 basketball courts, but the difference here is this plan would have demolished the LCCDC building and moved them into where the cafeteria portion of the school building was, which is still a good building. We toured that, and it's still got a good terrazzo floor, and
That's fixable somewhat. I mean,
I think it's
needs
still
work.
manageable.
Yes.
And at the time, we had a private group that wanted to take the 2-story building and make apartments of it. They put it in writing, they were willing to do that, and
Maybe
in
do the
exchange,
community center.
we give them, they were gonna put a new roof in and help us renovate the community center. I don't think that fell into great favor with many, and I think that was probably the reason why the school system just threw their hands up and said, we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna continue to have status quo. But this is the plan.
Status quo, how long can status quo just stay status quo? I mean,
I don't know, they said they were gonna do a comprehensive study and
I
plan.
know
but
we've
they haven't done
had
anything.
the building inspector go over there,
He has.
and there's one building that he's said that is in dire need of repair. But I mean, so what do we do? I mean, we've got what will be a gym after we finish with the paving and the curb and guttering and sidewalks over there. And then we're gonna have those 2 eyesores sticking up over
Nasty
there.
looking buildings, yeah. I think that's why we're here tonight.
You got a gym what?
We'll have a gym, a diamond, once all the concrete's done and the parking lot and stuff like that. It will look so much better over there, but then you're gonna still see the dilapidated buildings behind the basketball courts, so.
This is what was submitted in 2016 to the schools and rejected.
What was the reason for the rejection?
I think it was because where it says
Because of-
possible apartments,
Yeah.
if you read pretty close,
That's what they told me when I met
we
with
don't
them.
want anything in there.
But we
Right.
took this to them because we were trying to fix an issue. It's their issue technically, because it's their buildings. And I'll
So
tell
why
you,
would we sign a lease for 30 years? Where it
You can get out of the
stipulates,
lease. You can get out of the lease. Either party can get out of the lease or request with notice and proper notice. Again, I think the reason that we stay in the lease is because we cut the grass regularly. We get the leaves up regularly, all
we
this kind of
cut
stuff.
trees down over there nonstop that fall
We've
down.
cut several trees down. I think we can maintain it a little better. Just the buildings are the contention. Is that routine maintenance? I think getting grass up and leaves and
That's routine.
gravel and potholes and all that kind of stuff is routine maintenance, but dropping tens of thousands of dollars just to put a roof on a
I am
four-story
not
building,
gonna agree to drop any money in that building at
I don't
all.
think it's a good investment. And I think it was turned
That's the only
down.
reason we brought forth this idea with the possible apartments, because they were going to, at no charge, make a community center that LCCDC could man, and it'd be a benefit to the town.
So why?
It was free.
What reason did the
The apartments.
county give?
I think
Because
so.
Apartments, because they thought you were gonna make money off the
We
apartment.
weren't gonna make a dime. I mean, this was just for us to
They
improve
were
their
gonna get
building.
free work on the concession, or the cafeteria portion of the building.
But
somebody
now-
would've made money
now-
off the apartments, whoever built
Well, of
the
course,
apartments.
because they gotta pay for the renovations.
But now, since my last meeting with them, they're saying that they're open to any ideas that you have. The only thing they need is a plan.
how
But
about
I
a
mean, when
plan?
we start,
How
we
about a
had-
planned demolition?
I mean,
Start with demolishing
I'd
the
say
two
they just need to
buildings.
demolish them and we'll leave it as grass.
But we still gotta have a comprehensive plan as to what they're gonna, if they're gonna demolish them, they want a plan as to what we're gonna do with the building.
Put back.
That's right, what we're
No,
gonna
I mean,
put
green
back.
space.
No, you can't have green space because what we said,
About future sites
we
for
was, we
community.
were
center.
talking about swimming, we were talking about demolishing and putting a swimming pool over there.
We're
That's
not
what
gonna
we
be able-
said.
That's not gonna be, you're a long way away from a swimming pool.
Why you say that?
Well, number one, there's a lot goes into a swimming pool. You can't just have a swimming pool sitting out there.
Well, when we went to them and talked to them, we proposed a swimming pool. They were open to the idea of a swimming pool.
That was just recently when
That
you.
was, that was just recent.
The swimming pool, if you want a swimming pool, it needs to be indoors, not outside.
Well,
Because you open yourself up for a lot of problems if somebody gets in there and a child falls in there and drowns, whatnot.
You
well,
look
we probably could talk them into working. Then just
you look at the town of Victoria and what their pool sits in right now. It's outdoor. It's gone. I mean, they don't even use it anymore. It's just
well,
But if you put it
and then we
indoors-
just came up with another idea that we talked to the supervisor with about, and which we still doing some more work on that. That's where we working on the indoor.
I mean, that'd be a great site for a pool inside a community center.
I mean,
'Cause if you
there's
got some-
three
if you
or
got a
four
pool-
ideas. There's a why being proposed. There's a whole lot. But the main thing we want to do is get them where we can get these buildings out the way. Because if you don't, as I brought it up in town council meeting the other night, if somebody gets hurt over there, who they gonna come to? The county's gonna try to push it off on us.
so. I mean, right now, I mean, if we build an indoor pool, there's no way currently in our budget that we could ever fund it unless you have revenues coming in extra from somewhere.
I'll be real frank with you on the money. We gotta get East End paid for.
Correct.
Right.
And once
So-
East End, now we're gonna finish up in October of 19 with our finance plan and funding all of our funds and get it. After that, remember, we did a 2-year interest-only gig on that East End, and the plan is, after October 19, man, we really gotta get that
So-
one paid off.
Before that 4 years is up, we got these buildings that will go down even further. So I don't know how you can give them a plan except for
Well, why can't-
leaving it as
Why
open
don't we
space.
give them a plan that we intend to maybe put a community center
Okay.
there?
They gonna hold you to it now,
Yes.
Jay. That's basketball court.
Okay, listen. Now, just listen. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that nothing is concrete. But I will say one thing about it. If we can get the Board of Supervisors on board, then we can get the funding. That's the main thing, is getting them on board.
If they participate as a county.
That's right, if they participate in the county.
They make the ultimate decision too about turning these buildings down.
That's right. See, that's the main thing. You got to get them. And see, that is the main thing.
I think it's too premature though to go to them and say, hey, our plan is to tear the buildings down and in the future, we'll have an indoor pool. I think it's too premature because money-wise, we don't have a clue what it's, I mean,
Well, could you use that area, as, I know y'all had asked, the Gators had asked for a practice field for football. If you tore the buildings
plenty
down,
of
that would
big,
be,
yeah.
you could use that area for your
Yeah.
football.
And that's easier stuff to maintain in the immediate future. Yes, that's easy stuff. But when I mean, I'm talking a pool alone, just a pool, not including a building that it would go in, would be 150 grand, 200,000.
Well, don't forget if you got a
Plus your
pool,
building of $500,000 at least.
don't forget if you put a pool in there, your insurance goes up. Not to mention it has to be manned with a lifeguard when it's in operation, so who's gonna pay for that?
That's why it'd be ideal if we did clear this spot and we marketed it to people like a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club and said,
It could be
hey, this is a
countywide.
perfect spot for that.
And it could be county
And that
wide.
way the town
We've
wouldn't be on
exhausted
the
the
hook.
YMCA bill. There's a big local contribution. You basically gotta pay for the YMCA.
Yeah.
I think Farmville had to give them a significant investment to have it here. I
The
don't.
big thing was the population numbers didn't match.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe in 5 years, your population numbers may be completely different when Fast Seed comes about. So I think it's just too premature to go to the county and say, hey, we'll guarantee that there'll be a pool there.
Well, I can't say you can guarantee, but I do think, as I learned with the basketball coach,
When you tell them
we
it's,
plan on doing a second one. Give them the second one. When's the second one gonna happen? When's the second one gonna happen?
I think there's ways of getting around to it, but I think that we just got to have a plan. I think that's the main thing.
I can tell you as experience from a parent remember, and you'll see it soon. When my kids were playing basketball indoors and finding practice places is a headache. Now, the county built those gyms on all three of the schools, but if you wanna play basketball, the rec association has that gym blocked off from 6 o'clock until 11 o'clock, 5 nights a week.
Rightfully so. I mean, they've got an
That's their
organized.
priority.
Yeah.
But for any other purpose, for any kind of recreation or something like that, there's really no other option other than, I guess, the armory, but they don't even have the goals up, and we've got some obvious asbestos issues before we open that baby back up.
All right, so
I
why
don't
can
like
we
know when
not?
we're gonna start talking about this armory, whether we're gonna tear it down or gonna fix it up. Because it's been an ongoing problem for the past, 2 or 3 councils.
No, since
And now
1986.
nobody wants to talk about it. Every time I bring it up to the mayor, well, we'll get to that later. That's another prime piece of property right there in the middle of town that you could put something there. But they're conveniently throwing money in to fix this bathroom or throwing money in to fix that bathroom. Was that with the hopes? We're gonna do something with it. Meanwhile, the whole time, that building like the one sitting over there is steadily dilapidating even more. So we got all this talk about what we're gonna do with a community center and the 2 prime places right there to put them.
Well, and that's the problem.
But our
is the
thumbs
two-
are locked because we can't do anything with it.
Correct, that's the problem. The
So there's
two-
no need even to have a meeting to talk about anything till we get rid of the buildings.
I
Do
think,
what?
To get rid of the buildings.
The school buildings and the armory?
Get rid of the building or get rid of the armory and fix it up, vice versa.
I think for our immediate action, I think we should propose to the school that, we demolish the buildings as it is and propose that we have that as a practice field.
Just the one building.
Well, you can't just do the one building.
I can tear down the small one pretty easy.
The small one, meaning the old
The
building.
old building, the 1935 one.
The one that sets alone.
Wallace is good at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can knock that down. And
But
that 2-story one's gonna be a little challenging.
Oh, yeah,
We'll have to
it will be.
Careful we
But,
don't mess it up.
that's not regular
Does
maintenance.
it-
That's when the
does it-
county comes in.
Does the
I'm
county
sorry.
look at the fact that that building is unsafe? If kids were to get in that building, there's a lot of injuries that could happen.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something about them buildings. We have caught them. The Gators have caught the kids inside the building. And if you go over there late at night, you'll see a kid crawling down there. So and like I have said before, what's gonna happen when a kid gets killed over there? What's gonna happen? It's gonna
Then
happen.
they're gonna say, well, the town was held liable, they should have done something about
That's
it.
right.
I think
Let's go hook
I
a doze
think
up to it
I
now,
think
let's
the
go.
old cafeteria can be used somehow. So,
I think it's totally good building.
The standalone building.
this,
No.
no, the old
The one that's
cafeteria,
attached.
the one that's
Okay.
closest to LCCDC, that can be salvaged somehow. But I don't think it's in our budget now to do anything. But I think the 2-story old school and then the standalone building should be demolished pretty quickly.
It ain't getting any better.
You can go in the standalone building right now, and it's a messed up gutter, and there's a hole in the roof.
Well, why can't we take this committee and you up to a board of supervisors meeting one night?
It doesn't help.
Okay.
We've
The
been-
wrong term. They do care, but they
it's-
have not acted in the past when we've asked
Yeah.
them to do stuff. Now, I think you may want to listen to Mr. Miller a little bit and whether or not you want to spend money, but I think he does have an inroad to at least get through an impasse.
Well, that's
Because
what I'm
right now,
saying.
we're in an impasse. We ain't going
I
anywhere.
think the inroad is tear the buildings down that need to be torn down. And then and our plan would be, we always need extra field space. We still have the soccer field down here, which could be soccer/football. That's so low.
It's
That
wet,
plan could be put
swamp.
up here
Sure.
and have it up there. So, that could be our impasse if we really needed to, because it doesn't cost
They
us-
want a plan. That's the main thing they want is a plan.
And we can take this plan and revise it, add, subtract to it. But I think if you put in a gym and a swimming pool, they're gonna be expecting a
They're
gym
gonna
and a swimming
expect it.
pool.
And I don't mind expecting that, but until we know where the money's gonna come from, I don't wanna delegate that. That's,
How about a practice Gator field or whatever until we get to the point where we can put more money into it
Well, we
to
can create a
construct
time
something?
schedule, too. And just say, the first thing we're gonna do is get the building down. The second thing we're gonna do is take one of these sites, either down here in the bottom or where that building's come down, and we're gonna put a legitimate
yeah, practice.
practice
What do you
field
think?
with
3
bleachers
years?
and lights and
3
all
years
the
for
above
practice
done.
field?
The practice field, what do you think practice field would run?
Up there on that top hill, not bad. Down that bottom, you're gonna have to haul.
Oh
in
yeah,
first
you're gonna
grade.
have to haul in.
It's real
Plus,
low down
plus
on
we
Oak
figured
Street.
you're also gonna have to have
Yeah.
fencing along the road and stuff.
If you did
Well,
it-
really, you could really put a practice field down the bottom, really. Right there along where, Oak Street. You know, come up a little bit where you had the playground,
On the back
Yeah.
side,
Yeah,
it's
on the
wet,
back.
we're gonna have to raise that up.
raise it up a little bit, but you can really put a practice field in there.
That
This
was
is
the
right
plan.
across the street from Noel's house. Say, Noel, trying to beautify your community. We could use some help.
Noel's all for, Noel
Yeah,
has
I
been
think Noel
for
would be.
trying to do something with the buildings because he knows, and I think everybody knows, that those buildings
I
are.
don't understand Sherman. He don't
But
live
my
over there. He don't wanna
concern
look at
is,
it.
what is it gonna take, a tragedy before somebody moves?
Where the impact was hitting and the hole's getting bigger in the road.
2016, I went to that school board meeting and I left out of there not too happy, I don't
Pretty bad, I
think,
remember I drove you up.
because we're still sitting status quo. I mean, we were just told no. I mean, okay, so what do we do? We'll think about it. And here we are 2 years later, still don't have a comprehensive plan like we were
They
stated.
told us they were gonna give us a plan for it.
Yeah.
If you don't wanna do a gym, if you don't wanna do swimming pools, I think that's the logical progression. I think the Armory muddies it up some. Well, we've already got a gym, why are we building another one? Well, then we'll have to make some decisions on that.
Well, I would like for us to start looking at the Army now, because this has been going on for way too long. And I gotta say, the majority of the people that I talk to just wanna get rid of it and put something else over there. Unless there's some miraculous grant that you can find that's gonna do it, because I don't think that should fall on the taxpayer.
We haven't found a miraculous grant yet. I think that some of it can be offset with historic tax credits. I think some of it can be offset potentially with some DHCD, but you gotta have specific LMI activities, not recreation. They don't do recreation, but it's gonna have to be some low moderate income beneficiary.
Well, it's like this,
You know how I am with-
the donations are running, they're not getting donations anymore.
You know how I
I'm
am.
all,
Everything is
if you
kinda closed
can, if
in.
you can show me where we can bring a grant in here and start putting money into it, fixing, I'm all for it. But if you can't, get rid of the ongoing problem, and let's start being proactive with that problem.
You know where I stand when it comes to tax rate increases and utility rate increases. And it's hard to get me.
You won't have to raise taxes to do anything.
Anything.
Armory-
There it is.
That's why if we do a field, we can do that. I mean, we can
I
find
think if you're
money.
gonna raise taxes, and it's gonna benefit the youth.
You raise taxes
in this
around here, we
community,
be the most
I
hated
wouldn't
people
mind
in the
paying
world,
another
and I'm
3
not
cents.
for raising nobody's taxes.
For any
We don't have the income, we don't have the income level to raise nobody's
Well,
taxes.
you figure this month, I mean, we typically have 350 in pink slips. This month we had 375. I mean,
Going
it
up
just,
every month.
and we're not even in the hard months right now. We were in a light month.
If we
So-
go January.
Well, I will let y'all know that, we tried to get Bill to some property in seminary today too to meet, but they, it didn't work out, but on the agenda is the Armory referendum, which
I
is-
think
has
we
been-
should, as a
and
commit,
that-
as our
That's
committee,
gonna say yea or nay if that ever goes through.
since we know that the two-story building, the old two-story building, and the standalone building are beyond, you can't replace, you cannot fix those. I think we should propose to the full council that we recommend to the school board, demolish those
At their cost.
at their cost. I mean, it's not our buildings. What are we supposed to do?
We should.
You're going nowhere with that. They're just gonna say no. Ain't gonna do it. We gotta find some carrot in the stick.
So what did the bill, I mean, if I had a building sitting over there like that, we've had other private entities that have had buildings such as that, and the county and building inspector will get all over them for it.
And the building inspector won't go over and.
I'm sorry. It's
I'm just saying.
still a community that's, it just
If you want
drives
them
me.
torn down, I think you gotta offer to, we gonna tear them down.
Well, since Billy likes utilizing the paper so much, why don't we go to the county in a meeting and request them to condemn it, because it is a safety hazard.
It is a safety.
And then say, well, we'd like to tear the buildings down so we can start a beautification project in that neighborhood.
I mean, just imagine if they were gone.
Let's go,
and you
let's
actually
get it
had
out there for
green.
people to see.
Just flat out knock them down.
Yeah,
If you want a positive response, I don't think y'all gotta tear them down.
I don't know if I would
I said,
be,
we're willing to tear them
The
down.
town will tear them
We're
down. I
willing
think they're gonna
to,
move
all
on
we're
like
waiting for is a green light from you.
I'd be for if we did went in half. I wouldn't be for if we're bailing them out.
Because I'm gonna tell you why I say that, and I can see what Eric's saying too, because
Bailing them out.
the situation came up, and I think I told you about this. When we talked, they did say it was a substantial cost in tearing those buildings down over there.
Oh, it's not cheap. The
And it will
two-story
never
one's
get
gonna be
cheaper.
brutal.
It'll
That's
never
what they
get
told me.
One-story one, our guys can do it. That two-story building, you get yourself hurt if you're not careful on that thing. I don't think we have a big enough piece of equipment. I think we're gonna have to get SB Cox or one of those guys down there. Now, I did get a cost estimate some years ago from SB Cox, to take it down. I can root around and see if I can find that crazy thing, but, It's like $45,000.
Well, doesn't it have asbestos in it, so you have to get that removed too?
Yeah.
It's all tile.
And he did say that at the meeting I had with him, that it's a substantial cost in tearing those buildings down.
I would not be for 100% our share, just because that's showing no effort in the county to improve the area. I mean, that's just bailing them
They've
out,
shown that.
bailing them out of everything, all their responsibilities.
And see, there's only one person that's hollering about the reason why they want to keep the land. It's only one person hollering, and that's Sherman Vine.
Well,
That's saying that they want to keep the buildings.
the buildings.
It's only one person.
But does he give a reason
Because he's saying that if a natural disaster comes, they're going to use the building. You all have heard that before. You know, this is what he's saying.
He's told me the same thing.
You
why?
know,
It's got a roof.
I mean, it's no secret. It's
You walk
only
in there
one
and you're
person.
walking in junk. I mean, just
Junk.
nasty stuff.
If
This
it's a natural disaster and it's happening, like, what are those buildings gonna do?
They're going to put kids in
what
them.
will happen is they will bring in
Bring in trailers.
An
Everybody
off-road
knows
And
this.
we are all
baseball
for it. They
field
need
to
to
the
put
primary
trailers all
school.
in that whole property. We'll allow it.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a question. So the lease is to 2037.
30 years.
Okay, so with whatever's already happened over there, and even with the plan going forward, what happens in 2037? What happens then?
I
Well,
thought,
what happens tomorrow if the council votes, we'll get out of this deal.
No, but I'm
Yeah,
saying, but
yeah,
no,
yeah.
once money is put into it, the area is developed and things are done. What happens in 2037?
In order for us to invest a
Get out of
significant
these
amount in
and
basketball
tell
court, for
them.
one thing,
Trying to get permission to take them down, so we can put some, just start
basketball
with
court,
that being the
baseball fields
plan.
are easy to deal with.
The
If we
request to
build
get
a
out of the
gym, we're
lease,
gonna have to either
so we
have
can
a
go ahead and
utility
take the
or-
buildings down, to start some type of beautification.
So, I mean.
Or
so
community
even with the
improvement.
fields and stuff that's
Well,
there now,
the fields-
when
That would be the
2037
best
comes,
thing.
I think the
we
three of
still
us or
be
four of
able
us should
to
go up
do
there.
whatever
I think we
is
should
needed.
set up a
We
meeting with-
expect, the question is what happens when the lease expires? It's our expectation that
Yeah,
we're
but it's
operating.
not written anywhere. It's
yeah,
not.
but can you imagine a
set.
county coming and saying that your citizens of their own county can't
Tear down a
use?
baseball field?
I mean, I can't imagine them saying that, but I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
even if they're talking about a plan, even if you're talking about putting money into it, there needs to be something more than just saying you have this lease or you can use this property.
If we're gonna
because-
put substantive permanent
Yeah,
fixtures, like a building, a gym, a swimming pool,
Oh,
yeah,
well.
there's gonna have to be something that says this is either transferred to the town as part of a deed, or it's a 99-year lease or something like that. It's gotta be an extended period. I believe.
I mean, personally, and I know everybody bucked the apartments, but this plan in the Exhibit B was a pretty good plan.
Cost-wise, it would have helped us a little bit, but
But
Here's
the
some other
lady that
things.
was but the school board representative that was on the school board at the time stated that she didn't want any apartments in front of her house.
I think that was
That
the
was
reason
the
this
kicker.
got
I
smudged.
was there at the meeting. She did not want any kids picking up. They didn't want the school bus picking up kids in front of her house.
so that was the reason for no.
That
That
makes
was the
perfect
reason.
sense. So now we just look at a two-story building that's,
So you got to figure out a way to get to the people in Nottaway. I mean, we don't own nothing. So therefore, we got to figure out a way to get to them.
Oh, they hold the call. They hold the call. The building official work for them. You know?
That's the thing.
I think we need to take the four of us up there, get on the agenda, and start the process by requesting, one, to get out of the lease, two, in order for us to start taking down stuff if they allow us to do, so we can start community improvement.
Why do
Because
we want to get out of the lease though?
why stay in the lease where we're gonna be responsible for improvement on something?
We're not responsible for any of the building at all.
but that, so we think, so we know. They think otherwise though.
Yeah, it says right here that we're responsible for the improvements on. And until you get that out of the writing, that's gonna be misconstrued.
I do think we need.
I think he's right.
I
If
do
somebody
think we
gets
need
hurt
to go
over there,
talk to
somebody's
them.
kid gets killed, it's coming to
I
us.
do think we need to have set up a meeting with them.
With the board of supervisors.
board, I think we need to go to the school board
The
first.
school board will
Board
tell you they have
supervisors-
nothing to do with it.
Ronnie Rourke has consistently said, board of supervisors don't have anything to do with it. We all know that they probably do have something to do with it. Because it's very, very testy. Remember the two buildings that were over there we tore down? That was a 3-2 vote, and the two Blackstone representatives voted against it.
Well, Shelley Hinton told me, I talked to her at Walmart about a month ago.
Who?
Shelley Hinton.
Uh-huh.
And she don't have a problem with us doing away with the building.
But the board of supervisors is gonna be the one that let you.
All right, so who do we go to first? The board of supervisors
we
or the
got a
school
The
joint-
board?
whole board has got to approve
Approve
it
it.
and declare it surplus.
Surplus,
And
then the
Ronnie Rourke
promote.
has told me, oh, then we'll take a look at it and consider it.
So who do we have
So
to meet with
we need to
first?
go to the school
You
board
gotta deal with
first.
schools first. You gotta get them to vote.
All right, let's say we set up a meeting. Next school board meeting or something.
I think we need to have a separate, it needs to be a work session. Because we could sit in the middle of their school board meeting.
They can come here and Jennifer can bake cookies.
We could sit in the middle of a school board meeting and take up all their time and discuss for hours about this.
Y'all wanna build a gym over there?
You cannot tell them that though right now, because we don't know. I mean, we don't have the money to do that right now.
No, you have to come up with big financing
Oh,
plans
yeah,
and
we don't-
tax rates and all that kind of stuff.
We don't,
Figure it
in
out.
tax rates, we're not in the.
Well, how about we
set-
wanna take the building down now because it's a safety concern?
That's my main
But I
thing.
think you gotta listen to what Mr. Miller just said, is that they're looking for a plan to tear the buildings down, which you can put back.
We just
That's right.
said, a field, a practice field
We
for
can
our
put a good football field. with
soccer,
bleachers and
soccer
lights
slash
and-
football field that we've already proposed, but we've learned. that-
Football field might work too because they really don't want the Gators on their field,
Oh, up at the.
Oh, the baseball
school.
field?
on the
No, up
football
at the
field,
school.
at the school.
But because they don't want them at the school.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Ah,
I mean, you know, they,
That may be an
that
angle.
may be the angle, that we actually make it a little bit nicer.
So the standalone building, is that where the football field, is that big enough
I
for a
would say
football?
You'd have
logically,
plenty
that's
of room
where,
Is that big enough for a football?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
because it goes all the way back to Patterson.
Yeah, that's a big area.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's the thing that would be the youth football location, and you can put a practice field and a regular field on there if you can squeeze it on there.
and the soccer.
You can put a nice scoreboard home of the Nottaway Gators.
Yeah, home of the Gators and lights, and maybe we can all
And
agree on
add
that.
soccer to it.
And we'll put soccer in.
Yeah, just
Put
be
a
a
fence around it,
multi-use
make
field.
sure, you know,
Concession
all the way
stand?
down the road. Maybe that's a less expensive alternative
Yeah.
to get them to be agreeable to
You
something.
can't do tax, I can't, it's just gonna hurt saying
I'm just
that you're
telling
gonna.
you guys, I'm all for whatever y'all wanna do. Y'all wanna renovate, build, whatever, we can figure it out, but it ain't free.
No, it's not.
It
I
can't
know.
be free, there's just not enough resources left to squeeze another
And a
gymnasium out.
pole attachment fee at $40,000 a year doesn't pay for a gym, so.
Let's work on this.
That's cool, I think you
And
got
then
something here.
We'll
You can
start
vote to
working
tear
on
the
this
two
armory.
buildings down, but you may have to give up a little bit on golf. The town may have to put schools ain't got any money. They don't have a nickel. It's gonna have to be the board of supervisors that puts the money in.
Well, how about if,
I mean, they
if it's
can
gonna be
replace
for
a
the
track
Nottaway
that didn't
Gators,
even need to be
how about the rec?
replaced.
What?
They can replace a track around a football field that didn't seem to be,
That's excess money they have
yeah,
left
that's
at the
just
end of
extra
the
money. I
year.
mean, they get extra money. I mean,
What we can ask them? And that's
The
a less
money
expensive
al-
alternative. You get the buildings down, you solve a Gators field problem. Maybe that's something that they're interested in seeing happen. And we make it the home of the Gators and put in bleachers and concession stand and all that kind of stuff. And then be used for soccer, like
Yeah.
you said. So the concession stand isn't just stand alone 5 times a year, 10 times a year.
no, I'd be for that because it's not a,
or you can ask the board of supervisors, make a donation for the rec association to put into this.
They can't do it for us. They couldn't make a donation to the
yeah, because
Gators.
then they're gonna say they gotta do it for the other localities.
Because see, the Gators is self-sufficient. So they couldn't make a donation to the Gators.
And we don't
Why,
have
why
a,
don't we have just a rec association, everything together? Why
To
don't we
tell
have-
you
County
why,
wide, you mean?
because
Yeah,
Countywide?
countywide.
when Blackstone Rec had a chance to get football, they turned it down. So the Gators
But
had to
that
go
was
by
then.
themselves.
This is now. So why?
Well, I
Now,
think if you're
everybody
talking
comes
countywide, you look, I mean, Amelia has a Parks and Rec department.
Exactly.
Dinwiddie has a Parks and Rec. It's just simply because they don't fund a position to do it.
And that would have to come
Plain and
from
simple.
Nottaway
Yeah,
County.
that has to come from the county.
Blackstone
But have we
Rec.
ever
per-
requested that or even?
No, because
took
again,
that?
Again, the county is not gonna fund a countywide rec.
the town has bailed out the county many a times with what we've put in over there at the ball field. We've bailed them out by building our own nice sports complex, basketball courts. We bailed them out. I mean, that's plain and simple, and something that should be probably a county function.
I think we're on to something though. If we can, I can clean up those thoughts, and come up with some cost estimates, bleachers, little concession stand, fencing, lighting, all those kinds of things, and clean up that number, and come back to you guys with that number. I'll see if Dan can get the lighting figured out cost-wise, and, you know, we got some site work, obviously, you gotta take the building down, there's some
Yeah.
cost in there, but I think any deal needs to be book built. And if they wanna know what you're gonna do with that property where the two-story building is, I would say it's
That's
gonna be a
just-
parking lot, long-term for the facility.
Yeah, because you're gonna need parking, obviously, for a field over
If
there.
you do a, you know,
That's the only reason, if you look in the map over here, we haven't pushed forward, not only just because of the grade and the site work, but we moved the basketball court that was at the LCC-DC building. We moved it into the parking lot. So now you reduced your parking even
yeah,
more.
reduce parking.
So we don't wanna take so much, you gotta have parking.
So do that.
So,
If they say what you're gonna do, and we're gonna need a parking lot, with a two-story building, that would become parking.
and it's not like it'd be a huge park, I mean, it'd be
No.
40, 50 cars at most, I would say.
I generally need more than.
And there is a master plan, remember, he gave us several different options. There's one that shows parking going right there. And I could reuse that, regurgitate that same parking lot. I think you got a little something, ain't gonna cost a heck of a lot. The tearing the two-story building down is the most expensive part.
Well, even if it, like you said, have a schedule. So say if we only have a certain amount to work with the first year, it's tearing the buildings down and starting site work for the, then year 2, we build a concession stand, or year 3, I mean, I don't know if we'll be able to afford all of it in 1 year, no. But it's
I think those buildings are gonna be 106 figures to get down.
oh yeah, I'm sure.
If you add them both up, it's gonna cost very much. Maybe they can help us with the tipping fees, you know, take the debris to the landfill at no cost. See if the county will do that for us. Okay? Eliminate
I doubt it.
the cost of the construction debris. They'll take it as, well, that's free tipping. If you look at SB Cox, if they come down here and they gotta haul it back to Chesterfield, to
Oh, yeah.
a construction landfill, it's pretty pricey. If we can haul it to Nottaway at no tipping charge, that's a big deal.
Well, but, taking the brick, put it in the pile, run over the
And
stand.
the brick doesn't necessarily have
And
to
you
go
can
away.
use that brick for the parking there.
Yeah.
Or carry it over and see if Jason wants to
Jason,
crush it. or
crush
something.
it, yeah.
Find some alternatives where the disposal of the debris can be done relatively inexpensively through county waiving some, where we gotta take wood and rafters and all that, and then see if there's another solution for the masonry, we don't even have to carry it over there. Crush it up or use it for cover or whatever we can do.
I just hate that now that we're gonna have that place looking so nice after this curb and guttering and the paving in the spring. And then you have them 2 buildings, so, I mean, something needs to be done, and I think it's
Well,
a
not
start.
only that, you got that brand new sports complex right there. And then you look behind it and there, that's it.
It's not that great, yep. I think this is
All right, well,
where
get some,
there's some consensus. I do think, long-term, you're gonna have to grapple with the community center concept. It's coming. Where should it be? Well, we all know there's 2 options, you just talked about it, okay? Cost-wise, we gotta figure them out, but one way or another, if either option is selected, I know, I heard I'm not willing to raise any taxes. You gotta be flexible and open-minded on all the financing sources, because it can't, neither project could be done
without some sort of
without
increase
some
in,
additional revenue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not opposed to fixing up the armor. But show me something where we're gonna start doing it and it's just not sitting there after we're finished with this term, then we're going to the next
25
term and
years
it's the
later.
exact same thing sitting over. It's been sitting over.
if back in
So-
the 90s, that building was gradually taken care of, it wouldn't be, I mean, I played basketball on Joseph Trent's basketball team, Wolverines, in there, and it wasn't that bad, but it's just progressed, and just over time, it's,
Probably as good as it's looked in a long time, because at least somebody's mopping the floors and keeping the
Yeah.
pigeons out and stuff, so it's probably cleaner than it has been. So
But
Why
you're-
are there lights
windows
on
are
in there?
fixed.
Why are there lights on there? I've seen lights on at
They're
night.
automatically leaving them on in there.
Yeah, but and like Monty, you know, people ride by there, and like I said, I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, cause no disturbance or nothing. And just like you, if she notices it, everybody else notices it. And the first thing people are saying, why are we biting up a vacant building?
Well, it hadn't been any town funds put in it, that's what we can say.
But
What's
you gotta
the
pay
town
the,
utility bill?
town
No,
pays
I
the
wouldn't
utility.
think
We're playing like it.
Yeah.
They put Christmas trees in there every year.
Right.
But I mean, we pay the light bill everywhere else, I mean, tons of places in town, I mean, that, as long as we're not putting a dime in there yet until the council makes a decision on the impasse that we're at with the Armory, as long as we're not paying for asbestos abatement or any of, I think last week they had some electrical contractor in there, as long as that's not our money to pay for that, you
But I
know,
think you need to be aware of what's going on.
Oh, I
think it
agree.
needs to be presentation, it is a town building.
correct.
And ultimately, you guys are gonna get to knock it
Well, how
head.
about contacting Walter back and telling him we'd like to have a meeting with him so we can find out
Big
what's going
presentation,
on?
what are you doing over here?
Well, I think Christine's gonna get there, so let Christine and
I
Yeah.
think he is communicating with Christine, that's right.
Yeah.
yeah,
I would like,
Cause you know how it is. The minute we have council meeting, you go home, you get a damn email. You talked about like a dog.
oh, you've learned quick.
Learn quick. Didn't take me but 2 months.
Would you like for me to take this, showing the two buildings gone, football complex, not just a field, but as much as we can fit in with a regulation field, and if there's another practice field that could be added to it on that side, because we can push back, we're not gonna put parking right there, we can push back this way,
Go closer to the volleyball court.
Huh?
Go closer to the volleyball court.
closer to the volleyball court, and then this building coming out and putting a parking lot right there.
Yeah.
And
That's
we'll
fine.
give
And then
that-
get some rough ideas, get somebody to give you an idea of what it costs to take the building down. But, I mean, I don't think until we get cost estimates, we shouldn't proceed and tell them what our plan is. So we'll call another meeting and
I think we're making some progress, that may get your building down.
say in December, we'll meet again after Philip has some time to
And if the county can
get some
provide
figures.
the disposal at the landfill at no cost, asbestos free, they don't have to show, they can't take asbestos in that landfill. So it's gonna have to be cleaned out, and it's gonna have to be taken care of. But if they'll help us with the disposal, I think it's gonna
I
be a
think
big
it's-
charge. That could be your 50/50.
I think it's still worth asking. Yeah, I mean,
and
if
you
it's
don't know,
50/50,
try to take the brick to it, possibly have it crushed up and used for the parking
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. I mean,
Then it
Jason's got
won't
that pressure up
really
there. I don't know if he'll do it for free, but I think that, there are options over there.
Or just present it to him like we're trying to do it for the rec association to get a,
We'll get the,
maybe he'll knock some off of.
if it's consensus, get the plan revised based on what we talked about and get your cost
can we
estimate.
revise it? I mean, you're talking about going to them and doing it?
They can do it on the CAD,
I mean,
not
think-
$5,000.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we don't need
No,
to
no,
spend.
I don't need to spend much more than whatever the CAD operator's time is.
Okay.
I can do that, and if they come back and say, no, that's gonna be a big amount of money, then, no, I'll
And then
get
you
a
draw something
scale
out,
and
yeah.
a pen and a piece of paper and we'll
Okay.
figure that. Okay. And cost
All right.
estimates. I like it. I think it's progress.
Yeah.
I think it's progress. All right?
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
6:45.